Let's continue here on BOXTOROW, joined by a gentleman in his 7th season as the head men's basketball coach at Grambling. The Tigers making history with a big time victory, as a matter of fact, in the NCAA Tournament. And what a game it was for the Tigers, the victory over Montana State in overtime. Donte Jackson, the head men's basketball coach at Grambling, gracious enough to join us here on the program. What's going on, Coach Jackson?
How you doing today, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, look, I don't know if I'm doing as well as you're doing.
Look.
like we about a year ago, we were at the HBCU All-Star Game. We were talking back in Houston last year, and now you're here. This is where you wanted to be. You wanted to be here last year. Is it, to this point, what you thought it would be?
It's everything and more. I've been to the Division II tournament at Stillman, and now to be at the Division I, tournament, it is a total different situation. I mean, man, I did more interviews than a little bit today, but I got to make sure I got to find time for you. Got to find time for the person that was interviewing me when nobody else was interviewing me.
We really appreciate that. So, this game, look, the game reminded me a lot of the Texas Southern game, the championship game last year, where you got down, you came back, came up a little bit short last year, but this time you were able to pull it out. Your thoughts on the overtime victory in the tournament?
We've been down many a times this year, and one thing about this group, man, we got a lot of fight. This group, they don't give up, and I always tell them find a way to win, and that's just been the definition of this group. We go by the slogan Road Warriors. Like we've been on the road almost 2/3 of the year. So at the end of the day, let's just keep the slogan going and find a way to win. And these guys, I mean, they just embody it right now.
And speak a little bit more to that. Obviously you look at Kentavious Dozier, your first team all-conference guy. He was a second team HBCU All-American. And maybe, other guys really stepped up maybe when he didn't have it going as much in the game against Montana State.
And that was the thing, like that's been our team, that's been our calling card. Share the sugar, be happy for your teammate when it ain't your day. And the one thing I looked at with Kentavious, he was up cheering harder than anybody else because he was just so happy to see Jamel Kofer having a great night because it's about winning. And we've just embraced just trying to find ways to win. It doesn't matter if it's you or your teammate. Let's leave this place with a W, and that's the one thing I love about this group.
You pushed all the right buttons. That 11-0 run was absolutely huge. You pushed all the right buttons, including not playing Dozier in the latter part of the second half. What went into that decision? Was that a difficult decision?
It was difficult because, honestly, we had two sophomores on the court, Michael Stevenson and Jamel Kofer, that spurred that run on. And, I'm looking at the coaches. And I'm thinking to myself, man, do we go with Dozier? Do we go with Tremichael Moten? Because Tremichael Moten wasn't having his best game either. But, I decided to go back with Moten only because he's been the closer for us for 5 years now. So hopefully, Michael Stevenson is going to grow into that role as we keep moving on. He had a phenomenal game, but we went ahead and just said, forget it. We're gonna let Tremichael close. But in Kofer's situation and Kentavious' situation, man, Kofer he was red hot. And I'm just a firm believer. You ride the hot hand. You don't take the ball out the hot hand. And he just was in there making buckets and making plays. And I was just so happy with his defensive level. So it was just like we had to stay with him.
No doubt. Now I see you. Those that can't see us, I see you kind of pushing. You're probably getting more texts and more calls than a little bit.
Yes. I mean, more texts, more calls. If it ain't this, then it's that, man. Listen, I got almost 400 text messages I still got to go through. So if I ain't got back to you, just give me a minute. I'm going to get back.
Donte Jackson giving us a couple of moments here, the head men's basketball coach at Grambling, joining us here on the program. Jamel Kofer, let's talk about him. I mean, unbelievable hit shot after. This is a kid that averaged less than 10 minutes a game for you during the regular season. Game high 19 points, 7 of 9 shooting. big shots in the big moments, just kept hitting shot after shot.
Kofi's a player. He's born and raised to be a player by his dad. And the tough part of it is that we got some good seniors that been experienced and been in moments that he hasn't been as a sophomore. But we expect him to grow into a huge role as we keep moving forward. But the reality of the situation is that sometimes you got to crawl before you walk. You know what I mean? You got to walk before you run, and you got to run before you sprint. This is just how life goes, And for him, it's just a coming out party because it's not about not being a player. It's just that you can play, but sometimes it's just for the good of the team. This is what's going well right now. So we getting in a situation where we don't want, I want to say almost 18 out of 22 games. I mean, if it's working, we don't want to stop what's working, just for one thing. And like for him, he just got the mindset, I'm gonna stay ready, coach. I'm gonna stay ready. And I'm like, man, coach, I need you. He was like, I got you, coach. Like, all right, let's go. Man, and it really for him, it was really about having a bigger guard out there for defensive purposes. But then when we kept seeing that number 20, the forward kid was gonna guard him, I said, man, he got 3 fouls. He ain't trying to guard. Kofor can score. Let's get Kofor the ball and let him go to work. And man, did he ever come up big for us? Just an amazing game by him. Proud of him, and just proud of him having the, just having that. I don't know I can't think of the right word, but just having that, I could just say, just being ready for the moment. Because sometimes you sit on the bench, and you start soaking, you start pounding. But he never did that. All throughout this, even in the SWAC tournament, he come in and make free throws and get big buckets. It's just that, man, I'm just so proud of him. Just so proud of Jamel.
That under 8, I think it was the under 8 timeout. I believe it was, or maybe under 12. What did you say to your guys? That's when you kind of started to kind of go on that run, turned up the defensive intensity, and started hitting buckets.
I told him, I said, it's now, we got it to 6. I said, it's go time. Come on, y'all, it's time to go. I said, we scored 2 more buckets, I promise y'all, we got a chance to make them break. And we just kept turning up the intensity, and we end up getting that press. We threw a press out there, end up getting a steal and 2 turnovers back to back. And it just put us in a good situation to win that game.
Jordan Smith, Antoine Burnett, very key for you, steady throughout the entire game.
Oh, it's 18 points each. I mean, those guys are big, to have those 2 big guards, a 6'5" guard, a 6'7" guard that both can shoot it, dribble, pass. It makes us very versatile. So I was I'm just happy that those guys showed up and played really well because, we pretty much got an all-conference backcourt between Dozier and Moten, and it wasn't their best nights. But our wing guards really made the difference. And then you bring Kofor off the bench and make a difference. It was just big for us.
Couple of more thoughts with Donte Jackson, the head men's basketball coach at Grambling. We really appreciate the time. The dunk by Jordan Smith, right, in the overtime, right? Like, when that happened, right.
Backbreaker.
Yeah. What your thoughts?
It was a backbreaker. That was a backbreaker moment. I felt like that's when the tide had totally changed. And it was just, we start that game, and I felt like it was a pro Montana State crowd. So when Jordan made that dunk, it was a Grambling State crowd. So you could just see how the swing of the tide of being on a neutral floor just kind of swung the crowd. And it was just incredible for him. Now he just goes up over 2 or 3 people and just catches it out of air and just slams it down. And the best part about it was no celebrating, just sprint back and defend. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The little things about being successful.
Yeah, this is the one thing I really noticed, not having seen you play a whole lot, just a cohesive, not too high, not too low, cohesive unit, stay steady, play ball, and ultimately came out with this victory.
Yeah, well, that's what we try to talk about, man. I try to preach to them about adversity in life. Like, you're going to have adversity in life, and you still got to hold your head high. You still got to walk with your shoulders up, because even when it's going wrong, at any moment it can turn around and start going right. But you have to be the person that make it go right. So when it's going bad, you got to work harder. When it's going bad, you got to think more positive. When it's going bad, you just got to find the good in situations and just keep working. And And that's the things we talk about. So when adversity hit, we don't try to get too high, try to get too high, try to get too low. We just got to understand that, it's adversity. Life is all about adversity. It's all about challenges.
Two last thoughts. You were at home, in sort of speaking. You had to get a lot of tickets. You had to take care of a lot of people. A lot of people want to come out and see you play.
Listen, I had to make that Facebook request, that Facebook message. Hey, I need you in the building, but I cannot give everybody tickets. So, but I need you to come support for the HBCU Pride. Man, man, we had so many people show up from Central State. I'm just so proud of our alums just coming out and support us, throughout that game. And, man, made it just feel like a real home court advantage for us. And just to look back and see in the crowd so many people you went to school with and, that you are good friends with, still talk to this day. Man, it was just an amazing feeling, man. It's just an amazing feeling.
And then last thought, the prize for getting past Montana State is Purdue. Now, on Friday, your thoughts on the Boilermakers?
Listen, well-coached team, incredible coach team. Coach Painter, one of the best coaches in America. They got Big Zach Edey, the best big man in the country. They shoot the ball from wherever. We got a tough task, but at the end of the day, we're gonna come ready to play. One thing we are gonna do, we're gonna leave it out there.
Donte Jackson, the head men's basketball coach at Grambling in his 7th season, joining us here on Box to Row. Again, the Tigers going to take on the Boilermakers on Friday. Coach Jackson, as always, appreciate the time. Good luck to you and the Tigers.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, you got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, you got it.
Bye.
No problem.